So we're back for another My Team episode. This one is a sprint race episode, the last one of the season, the Brazilian Grand Prix, and we're going to try and hopefully get a decent result. Now, if you haven't seen the last episode, guys, at Mexico a couple of days ago, link in the top right, it went down pretty well because of the title and thumbnail. So job done, happy days with that one. But yeah, if you're going to enjoy today's episode of Brazil, leave a like and subscribe for more. And yeah, as you can see in the background, we have a lot of upgrades, being worked on. So we have purchased a aero and chassis upgrade package. We've also had a couple of durability ones arrive to hopefully make sure we can make it to the end on our current power unit allocation. This weekend, Mercedes and McLaren bring big upgrades, and that top 5 is extremely close. We have, of course, confirmation of the 2 upgrades we just purchased on the way over the next few races. Also, official announcement, Alonso is retiring at the end of the season. Now, with that said, the weather forecast this weekend is dry. We've got no threat for rain, so we went through practice, everything went relatively well. We've got a bunch of discounts, and things are looking good as we jump into qualifying, more specifically into Q1. Now, as you guys know, we are pretty hot right now in terms of qualifying. We are off the back of 2 pole positions in a row, which is extremely rare. So I'm feeling confident we can try and go for a 3rd, at least so far anyway. And I want to try and see if I can keep that good qualifying momentum going. The good thing about Brazil is that literally just before recording this, I did a league race here, so I'm pretty sharp and on the pace. However, things didn't get off to the best start in qualifying 1, as we went for an instant spin out of the center S. Regardless, we kept on going on, pushing on. I've got fuel for a couple of laps here, and you can see second attempt is going to be at least us facing in the right direction. We're going to see now what the lap time is as we make our way through up to the DRS zone, up to the line, and it's going to be a 1 minute point 6 maybe? No, 7.367. So there we go, P6, and we go okay-ish pace-wise, not really anything spectacular. I tried to push for one more lap and see if I can find a bit more pace, but again we have our second spin and almost hit the wall. Luckily we just keep it out of the barrier as Perez drives by, and we managed to get the car off the curb. As we almost got stuck on the curb, it was actually pretty close, but I managed to just get the car off, and yeah, you can see right now we're P9, we're safe by about 0.3 of a second. So I took the decision to not go back out, and that worked out fine. And yeah, we get into Q2 alongside Hulkenberg. Leclerc setting the pace, 1 minute 6.5. I'm yet to do a sub 1 minute 7 lap time around this circuit. I can't physically do it across any league race or even my team. So yeah, it's not looking great seeing Leclerc in the mid 6s in Q1. Nonetheless, here we are, Q2. Bit of cloud, no rain forecast though as we make our way up to the line. We're going to try and see if we can beat a 1 minute 7.3, which was our Q1 lap time, and we actually pretty much match it. So we're going to go for a cool down lap and then a second push, because this is a fresh set of tyres, so I want to try and see if I can get through using one single compound. So here we are, second attempt. First and foremost, turn 1, brake at the 50, down to 4th gear, nice and tight through the opening left to open up the right. Short shift to 5th and try to get the drive through there. Stay nice and tight through turn 3 as you open the DRS. Down to turn 4, brake just before the 50. 5th gear, lots of inside and exit curve here to get the drive down the hill. Now we climb uphill into the tight and twisty sector 2. Double apex right to kick things off here through 6 and 7. Now into 8 at the hairpin. Just a bit wide there of the apex, didn't quite get all the inside curb. Through 9, we do a good job of keeping it nice and tight through there, and we're now about 2 turns up heading into 10. Hard on the anchors, try to focus on your exit here, which is really, really important as you plunge downhill through Yunsao. On the brakes one more time into the final corner, for me anyway, not technically, officially, but the last braking zone of the lap, and we absolutely nail it, using a little bit of the inside curb to rotate the car, and now running up to the line. Going to stay nice and tight here just to kind of minimise some distance, and we set a 1 minute 7.118 P9, which is a bit risky. It's on the cusp. As we went back to the garage though, you can see we actually have over 0.2 advantage over Albon, and 0.3 over Magnussen. Now, Russell had to set a better lap to get through, and I was expecting that to happen, and he does go P9, but still, job done for us. We just make it through, and P10 for us in Q2. However, the pace doesn't quite seem to be there, so I don't think we're contending for pole, to be honest with you. The top 8 look a bit too quick for me, so yeah. With that said, here we are. Time for Q3, and we're going to start off our first lap on a brand new, fresh set of tyres, as we have saved some tyres, so we're going to get 2 runs here in this session on fresh softs. The first one just doesn't get off to the best start, and you can see I'm just annoyed as we have a huge moment through turn 3. A few moments later, Sainz out the session, and here's a replay as Hamilton, coming at the pits, was driving across the track. Sainz committed to the racing line, and they just came together. So one of the championship contenders is out of qualifying without having set a lap time. So P9 is the best, or the worst thing in this case we can do, even if we didn't set a decent lap. So here we are across the line. Our first attempt is a 1 minute 7.1, which matches our Q2 lap. However, we're last, and by quite some margin, which is a bit disappointing. So here we go. One more attempt. I'll let you guys enjoy this one, and we'll see if we can try and find anything in terms of lap time. There we go then. Job done for qualifying. P9. Not really much more I could have done. I set a PB when it mattered. I felt like I was struggling for confidence. The car, especially in Sector 1, I wasn't really committing through 1 and 2 that much. But it is what it is. Sainz, P10, no lap time set. Hamilton, grid penalties. So we're going to be starting at least P8 in the race. And that's without factoring in other possible engine penalties for cars around us. So, yeah, Checo on pole. Leclerc just missed out. 1 minute 6.2. Absolutely astonishing pace. Hulkenberg in the top 4 with Verstappen. And, yeah, it's all to play for with the top 5 teams all in the mix. So, yeah, guys, it's going to be an exciting race. Our race pace is usually better. We kind of need it to be better. But, yeah, we're not quite on pace in qualifying. So, hopefully, things go better in the race. Or should I say the sprint race first, then the main event.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Sergio Perez will lead us away from pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Hulkenberg, Sir Lewis Hamilton and Ricciardo, Norris, Russell, Martinez and Carlos Sainz, Ocon, Albon, Yuki Tsunoda and Magnussen, Fernando Alonso, Bottas, Guan Yu Zhou and Pierre Gasly, Mick Schumacher, Stroll, Vettel and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We will soon find out.
Right then, here we go. It's time for the sprint. Starting from P9. Not really ideal, of course, qualifying, but we'll try and fight back in the race and see what we can do. I'm running 0.4 laps of extra fuel, so not a lot. I had no fuel consumption issues in yesterday's league race that I done, so yeah, let's get ready. We're going to line up relatively aggressive here, and hopefully we get a decent start.
Okay, so that's the rest of the grid forming up now. Be patient and watch for those lights.
Hopefully we can maybe break the top 6. I'd love to get the McLarens if possible, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, let's get into it. That's out and away we go. Russell moves right across and I have to get out of it, which causes me to have a poor start. Hamilton off at turn 1, locks up. Sainz goes through. We're going to completely squeeze Albon off there. So we hold on to P9, but Carlos Sainz with a fantastic start in the Ferrari. Not ideal though for us. Russell there just cutting across. Unfortunate, but that's just the way it goes. Our start was actually pretty decent. Now we're going to see what our race pace is like, which hopefully is better than the last couple of races, because we have struggled recently for general race pace. And I might have a look at George here. I did kind of contemplate just sticking my nose in around the outside there, but wasn't quite able to. But 12 laps, not a super long one to be fair, about a 13-minute sprint. It's going to be one of the quicker ones. And then we'll move into the race. We're going to make an adjustment on the diff, have a bit more drivability. But let's see if we can make some progress here. Early signs ain't too bad, assuming now their pace will drop a little bit once they stop using battery all the time. So let's see what happens.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Okay, so bad news here. We're out of DRS range. Looks like there is no real drop off in AI pace, so this isn't looking great. The AI's acceleration is absolutely mental. We've managed to catch up a little bit here, but we're now out of battery, so it's not looking great. A couple of personal bests in a row. I just can't shake off Ocon. I'm so close to dropping out of the DRS range, and that would make the race a lot easier for us, but I can't quite make it. Luckily, we're not under any big pressure. I'm just waiting for a battle in front to make things better for us. If there's just one single battle ahead, we'll catch back up. But until that happens, this is going to be our sprint race summarised. Ocon might just challenge here. Well, I think I've got the gap I need. Hamilton now is on the push. He's challenging. He's got past Albon. And now he's flying. He's looking to get past Ocon. So that could be Ocon taken care of. Cars ahead also losing a bit of time here, but I've got some battery charged up, so we'll deploy everything on the last lap and try and get a fastest lap at least. Sainz getting overtaken by Russell. Got a few battles ahead actually. This could be a pretty tense final lap. Let's keep pushing here. I'm still going for the fastest lap attempt, but we might actually get a chance to gain a late place or two. Hamilton and Ocon are battling now, so we haven't got to worry about them anymore. Let's just stay on board here and see what happens. I think it's Checo that's going slow. Something's happening. Oh my god. Oh, the AI is just so strong on traction. It's actually insane. Right, well that's our sprint in the mod.
Less than 1 lap of fuel left now. The tank's pretty much empty.
Try to push and the car just doesn't respond. Still, it would have been P9. We wouldn't have got a point anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much in the grand scheme of things. It just means we start a bit further back. So yeah, either way, disaster, man.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Welcome to where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the final corner, and just 1 year later, Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's time then for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil, is a 2.7-mile circuit with 9 lefts and 6 rights for a total of 15 corners. The fastest lap today should have an average speed of around 135 miles per hour, if of course the weather stays dry until the end of the Grand Prix. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Nico Hülkenberg lines up on pole position, with Daniel Ricciardo slotting in alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Perez, Norris, George Russell and Sainz, Ocon, Albon, Leclerc and Yuki Tsunoda, Martinez, Hamilton, they've taken a grid penalty, Valtteri Bottas and Gasly, Fernando Alonso, Mick Schumacher, Guan Yu Zhou and Lance Stroll, Vettel, Latifi, Verstappen and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway.
So here we are then for the main event. We're going to put that absolute disaster of a sprint behind us and move on. So P11, not too shabby, one place off the points. I can see 2 Ferraris in my line of sight, which means it's looking pretty good for us. Now then, strategy, I can't change anything on the car setup. You know, we're just not on the pace and that's just the way it is. So the best thing I can do is revert or change strategy. So we're going to try and start in the hard tyre. This is what I did in my league race and then moved to the medium and it worked quite well. So we'll see if it pays dividends for us. I'm going to go for 1 extra lap of fuel and hopefully that should be okay. No rain forecast in this race. So we're going to get into it straight away. Waste no time. Leave a like if you're going to enjoy and also leave a prediction down below. Can we fight back? Will the race be better? We're about to find out. 36 laps compared to 12 in the sprint should give us a bit more of a race to fight for. So let's get into it. Okay, let's get into it. Getting a last bit of tyre temp before we get underway. Got some decent temps to be fair to say. We're on the hard tyre. Happy with the warm-up. Let's get into it. One last burnout for old time's sake. We'll go slightly less pointing towards the inside this time in case Tsunoda comes across. I'm expecting to struggle in the first 5 laps, but hopefully we can drive through it. Let's go. Not a bad start, to be fair. We might just be able to fight. Down the inside we go. 3 wide with Hamilton and Tsunoda. This could get sketchy, but we go straight through and make it work. Hamilton also gets past. Let's try and get Albon here ASAP and try to pass him, ideally. Don't want to get stuck behind the Williams. And then Ocon ahead of that, so we're back in this battle once again. Leclerc looking to fight back straight away. Side by side, and we go around the outside of Albon here. Get run out of road, but I'm going to cut back to the inside into the hairpin. Trying to get the elbows out on the hard tyre here as we look to get past Albon. Don't quite have the grip into there. We're going to send it up the inside. Albon actually gets out of the way. I'm taking that every day of the week. So that's P9. Lovely. I'm confident I can probably keep up with Ocon, to be fair. We're going to have to use a lot of battery, not be afraid to use it. And hopefully the race pace generally is better. That Williams is super quick on the straight, by the way. And crucially, we are within 1 second of Ocon, although Ocon doesn't look like he's hanging on to the cars ahead. Albon using all his battery here. I'm taking an early apex. I'm not even going to let the AI have the chance to dive bomb me and give him floor damage. We're not having that one bit. Because of the Albon move, I'm now out of DRS over Ocon, which isn't good. I think Ocon still has DRS on Leclerc, so we're going to drop like a stone now. And we're out of battery already. It's a complete repeat of the sprint. Just got to try and get through this period. Albon closing in so fast. He's going to get the run of me here. I've tried to nail the center S, but acceleration is non-existent, especially versus the Williams. Just going to have to play a long game, unfortunately, and just try to hang on to someone's DRS here. Hamilton going for the move. I don't have any battery to fight with, so I just can't even really fight these moves right now. Just going backwards. Last 3 races, we've had absolutely no straight line speed whatsoever. It's funny though how powerful and how strong the AI are now that the upgrade's kicking in compared to the start of the season. It's starting to happen again, you know, which is a common theme where the upgrades just break the AI's performance. I'd also say it makes no sense how they're so much better in high altitude circuits, but of course that level of intelligence won't be coded into the game. Green flag, yellow flag. Up ahead, one of the cars was dropped out. One of the McLarens, that's going to move us into the points once again. He falls off the track, it's Lando Norris out of the race.
Okay, clear.
Don't think we're getting a safety car though, which is fine by me. Okay, so Ferrari in the pit lane. Carlos Sainz, who started on softs. So that's looking like a two-stop strategy for the Ferrari man, which is interesting. Oh, Albon locks up. Hamilton goes through. To be fair, I wouldn't mind sticking with Lewis here. Albon has DRS, which is bad news. I'll have to just sit behind for now. I don't quite have the pace to really change the race under my own power. I will mention Hulkenberg is out front in a comfortable lead ahead of Ricciardo in P2. So this would be big for Hulkenberg as things stand. So we've got a full charge and we're approaching the pit stop window. So we're going to try to look for a move on Albon here and make some progress. The AI so far don't really have any drop off in terms of tyre wear. They're holding up pretty well in terms of lap times and overall pace. Do anything, I'm struggling more than they are. That exit there just let me down. I'm not going to challenge. We have to be right on his gearbox if we're going to pass him because Albon's got insane straight down speed. Hamilton and Ocon going side by side right now into the middle sector, which is going to cost them a load of time. So now would be a great time to pass Albon if I had any kind of pace, or for Albon to get out of my way and pit using battery from the get-go. And Albon pits, that's going to release us into clean air. Hamilton also pits, let's try and chase after Ocon. Purple sector 3 of course, using a massive amount of battery to achieve that. Up to P5, we're going to try and go long and extend this a little bit. If there's a VSC, that's going to help us out massively, especially heading onto the medium tyre. I could try soft, but I'm not confident on the tyre temp. I feel like we'd overheat the softs. So Hulkenberg in. One of the Red Bulls stay out. Ocon pits. We're on for a personal best right now.
We're approaching the pit window and you're going to be on mediums.
Good pace the last couple laps. Obviously using a lot of battery, but still, that's what we have to do. And there it is, Checo pits. So we'll take the race lead. Hulkenberg has pit and rejoined behind us, so he's still technically net P1. So that's looking good for him. Okay, Russell 1 minute 8.9. I just did a 9.8, so pace isn't terrible. Just spend a bit longer here to see if I can maybe get lucky with a virtual safety car or something. Right, we're going to pit. Hulkenberg right behind us. I don't want to hold him up. And also we're racing Sainz for position here, so yeah, I want to keep myself a margin. Yellow flag in the start of sector 2. One of the Haas cars has gone for a spin. Slow it all down.
Okay, watch your pace. We've informed the safety car is out. There appears to have been an issue with multiple stock vehicles on the track.
Wow. Wow, the timing on that is insane. Okay. Schumacher disqualified. Well then, Sainz has pit behind us onto a hard tyre, but we've got mediums.
Up to speed now. Let's get some heat into those tyres.
Not sure if they're fresh actually. I think they are fresh. Yes, they are. Okay, well this race has just shifted. We're back in it, and we've got a chance. We're P7. We've actually managed to overcut Ocon by staying out, which is huge. Hamilton's just there. So we haven't actually lost that much by staying out longer, to be fair. It was decent pace, I've got to say, in clean air using the battery. So net P7. Well, as the old saying goes, how the turntables. We are now primed to have a decent race here and pick up some big points. Hulkenberg will lead us away for the restart as we get back underway. Can't pass before the start finish, but now we can. Here we go. Up the inside of Hamilton to turn 1. I'm going to try and edge ahead so that he doesn't go side by side with us. So now we have the upper hand. The medium seems to be the better race tyre, so that we can make it work in our favour now. We're going to have to be careful in these first 2 laps with the battery usage. AI are still going to be extremely fast on the straight, but we should be super strong now in the corners if we use our battery correctly. So overall, over a lap we should be stronger. Hulkenberg has Checo right behind him for company, and we're going to look to get past Danny Rick, who has had an excellent race, was P2 up until the pit stop phase in the safety car, but now it's our chance to shine. Just waiting for the opportunity as the engine wear icon pops up in the bottom right. Haven't had that for a while. I was thinking of changing the engine for the next race, so That's convenient. Here we go then. Let's see if we can get for a move in turn 1 with straight line speed. We're going to have to use all of our battery, but we can definitely go for it. Here we go. We'll use the minimum just to try and get the move done. Ricardo goes defensive. This scares me in case he locks up, but he doesn't. And we go through, and that's P5. Let's get after Leclerc and Russell now. DRS next lap, very key. We can win this race if we get the moves done fast enough. Let's see, Leclerc's first on the list, of course, our main championship rival. Let's try and get him if we can. Very strong traction there from Leclerc. Let's see if I can force him to use some engine mode to close in on Russell. Using all the battery here. Up the inside we go. It's a late one. Luckily Leclerc himself locks up with overspeed, and we take it.
The turbocharger's on its last legs. Let's try to keep mileage on it to a minimum.
I mean, 60% is okay. Hulkenberg still holding it down out front, but he's got check over company. We can now have a look at Russell, which should be a bit more easier with Mercedes, of course, their straight line speed. Not the best final corner. I think Russell's got DRS on Perez anyway.
Okay, some information on Ricciardo. They've got some kind of mechanical problem.
That's unfortunate. Ricciardo actually has broken down further back. So both McLarens, after such a strong weekend, end up double DNFing, which is really unfortunate for them. Russell's got DRS here, so we're going to just wait until we're really close. Ooh, Russell out of shape. That's the invitation right there. He's going to have DRS on Checo, but we're more than close to strike. Here we go, let's try and keep a little bit of battery back. I'm confident we can get this done. Up the inside we go. Russell turns in, and floor damage. I was completely alongside.
The underbody's taken a little damage. Just watch out for it.
AI is just terrible lately, man. I was completely alongside there. Deserved way more room. Ricardo taking away our fastest lap. So he hasn't actually retired, he's just taking a fresh set of tyres. So I wonder if he just got a puncture. I reckon I can drop Russell here. Got about the same floor damage as Mexico. Difference is this time, of course, we have much better tyres, but we still have that instability going on, which isn't helping. So I think P3 right now is looking like a great result if I can bring this home. Yellow flag.
Green flag.
Something happened to Russell there. I think he just lost the back end. Not quite sure. Maybe contact with Leclerc. So from P11, we fight back to finish in a phenomenal P3. That tastes like a win. Hulkenberg holds off the pressure, but that is a massive result for the championship.
Well done, good finish. We stepped up and achieved what we are. Good job.
A great race then, very much as we've come to expect, and a fantastic victory here at Interlagos. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
To the podium, our top 3 drivers. What a great effort from them today in a very difficult race.
So somehow, after that incredible bit of action and 2 up and down races, we have finished 4th overall this weekend in the sprint weekend. Nico Hulkenberg with a huge result, 2nd in the sprint, race win in the main event. Perez, Leclerc also picking up decent points along with Russell and Hamilton. So overall, a lot to take in, but let's have a look at the standings and let's see exactly what that means for the championship. You can see Verstappen as well. That's a big L for him. A grid penalty sets him back, scores no points in the race. That could be a deciding factor as we look at the Drivers' Championship. So, top 7 covered by 55 points. To Carlos Sainz, fair enough, car number 55. You could argue the top 7 has now become a top 6, maybe even a top 5, as we are currently second. Hulkenberg takes the lead in the Drivers' Championship with that massive weekend for him. Perez P3, and then Leclerc, Verstappen losing a bit of ground, but still, it's all to play for. And I would consider, at least for one more round, Sainz all the way up to Hulkenberg as title contenders. In the Constructors now, Ferrari starting to drop back quite a bit. Gap is 71 points. We have a 25-point cushion over Red Bull, which is pretty good for us, to be fair. The biggest gap we've had so far this season, and we lead the way. So, happy days, guys. That is it, though, for the sprint episode. If you'd like and subscribe, it really helps us out. As always, check out the 2 videos on screen in a moment. A massive shout out as well to the members for supporting the content. But cheers, guys, for watching, and I'll see all of you in the next one. Until then, take care, and that's goodbye from me.